This place does not look real at all. From a distance, it looks like snow covering the ground. Some people say it looks like frozen waterfalls. Others think it looks like ice from another planet. But this place is not cold at all. In fact, the water here is surprisingly warm, and everything you see here is made of stone. Welcome to Pamukkale, one of the strangest places on Earth. A place that looks frozen, but is actually alive. From far away, the entire landscape appears soft and glowing. The white surface reflects sunlight almost perfectly. It creates a surreal, almost dreamlike view. But as you get closer, the details become clearer. The surface is not flat, but shaped into layers, step after step, like natural stairs formed over time. These are terraces created by flowing water. Each level holds a shallow pool of bright blue water. The water is clear, calm, and almost perfectly still. It reflects the sky like a mirror. Standing here feels like being inside a painting, but this place is completely real. So how can water create something like this? The answer begins deep underground. Hot springs form beneath the surface of the earth. These waters are heated by geothermal energy. They travel upward through cracks in the rock. As they rise, they carry dissolved minerals. One of the most important is calcium carbonate. When the hot water reaches the surface, it begins to cool. And as it cools, a chemical reaction begins. The minerals start to separate from the water. They slowly harden into solid layers. This process happens drop by drop over time. Each layer builds on top of the previous one. Over thousands of years, the terraces grow larger. They shape themselves naturally, without any design. No human built this structure. It is entirely the result of natural processes. And even today, the process is still happening. The terraces are still growing slowly. Every drop of water adds a tiny amount of material. Every flow changes the shape slightly. Some pools become deeper over time. Others slowly dry out and disappear. This landscape is always changing. Nothing here stays exactly the same. It is a living system, constantly evolving. But there is more to this place than just geology. Humans have been visiting Pamukkale for thousands of years. An ancient city once stood nearby. It was called Hierapolis. People came here to experience the warm mineral waters. They believed the water had healing properties. The minerals were thought to help the body recover. Visitors bathed in these pools for relaxation and health. This tradition continues even today. But human activity also caused problems. Too many visitors began to damage the terraces. Walking across the surface caused erosion. Changes in water flow affected the formations. Some areas began to lose their bright white color. The terraces started to look dull and damaged. For a time, the future of this place was uncertain, so strict protection measures were introduced. Certain areas were closed to visitors. Walking was restricted to specific paths. Water flow was carefully managed and controlled. These efforts helped restore the terraces. Over time, the white color began to return. The landscape slowly recovered its beauty. What you see today is carefully protected, but it is still extremely fragile. The entire system depends on a delicate balance. Water flow must remain consistent. Temperature must stay within a certain range. Mineral levels must be stable. If any of these factors change, the process stops. And if the process stops, the terraces stop growing. This means the entire landscape could slowly disappear. That is what makes Pamukkale so unique. It is beautiful, but also temporary. A moment in geological time. Standing here feels almost unreal, like stepping into a different world. But this place exists right here on Earth. A natural formation created by water and time. A landscape that looks frozen, but is still alive. Pamukkale remains one of the most surreal places on Earth, and it reminds us how strange our planet can be. But there is something even more fascinating about this place, because Pamukkale is not the only one of its kind. Similar formations exist in other parts of the world, but none look quite like this. The scale here is larger, the color is brighter, and the structure is more defined, which makes it stand out from everything else. But what makes this place even more interesting is the way light interacts with it. During sunrise, the terraces begin to glow softly. The white surface reflects warm, golden light, creating a completely different atmosphere. In the middle of the day, everything becomes brighter. The contrast between white stone and blue water becomes sharper, almost too bright to look at. And during sunset, the entire landscape changes again. The light becomes softer, shadows stretch across the terraces, and the pools reflect the sky in deep colors. At night, the place becomes quiet. The crowds disappear, and the terraces take on a different feeling, more calm, more mysterious, almost unreal in a different way. Because without sunlight, the white surface fades into the darkness, leaving only subtle reflections and the sound of water slowly moving, almost silently. In moments like this, it feels less like a tourist destination and more like a natural phenomenon, something that exists beyond human control. But there is another detail most people never notice. The surface itself is constantly being renewed. Old layers slowly wear away, while new layers form on top. This means the terraces are never truly the same, even if they look identical. Over long periods of time, entire sections can change. Some become smoother, others develop new textures, and the shape of the pools can shift. This slow transformation is impossible to see in real time, but over years, it becomes obvious. And that is what makes this place feel alive. Not because it moves quickly, but because it never stops changing. It is always in motion, even when it looks completely still. And that creates a strange feeling, because we usually associate stone with permanence, something that does not change. But here, stone behaves differently. It grows, it shifts, it evolves, and it reminds us of something important, that even the most solid things are not truly permanent. They are just changing more slowly. Pamukkale is a perfect example of that idea, a place where time becomes visible, layer by layer, step by step, drop by drop. And if you stay long enough, you begin to understand it, not as a static place, but as a process, a system, a moment that is always moving forward. And that is what makes it unforgettable.